just want to listen.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, I don't want to fuck it up. Let's just move this
So
way
I can look at the mic.
Yeah.
Good idea.
That way your vibrations aren't going that way, they're going more this way.
Good vibrations. Okay, here we go. All right. Welcome back to Crime in the Coconut. I'm Ashley.
I'm Amanda.
And this is what it is.
You put the crime in the coconut and shake it or leave it.
Oh. Has anybody picked up yet on what our intro music is and outro music?
I didn't until you told me.
It's, well, because I didn't want to get copyright for it, so I changed it up quite a bit. It's me playing the riff of Lime in the Coconut on the ukulele, slowed down a whole lot.
I like it. It's very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of it exactly right now.
And it's a little, like, spooky sounding.
Yeah.
It's, like, slow, but not, like, scary.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Most true crime podcasts have, like, piano music, and I wanted it to be a little, like, tropical sounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have something I'm going to get you when I get paid next Friday. It's the coolest thing ever, and I'm, like, I think I'm just going to show you, because I can't contain it. Hold on.
Why do you give me so much stuff?
No, dude, you're going to see this and be like, wait, okay, you can give me that.
Oh, if you're showing me that, I want to show you what I'm working on art-wise.
Yes.
I actually hate the way those girls' eyes look.
Just the direction that they're going?
I have to redraw it, but every time I look at it, I'm like, what the fuck is up with her eyeballs?
Okay, so while you're pulling that up,
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing I'm going to get you. I saw an ad for it on Facebook, so I'm sure it's just my FBI agent, like, really paying attention to what I do with my podcast and where I live. It's called Cleveland Coconut Candles. They use real coconuts and make candles out of them.
That's awesome.
And wine glasses out of coconuts.
Oh, yes, we need those.
I know. So I have to get them.
We need those. Yeah, her eyes are like, I hate them. I hate everything about them. They're all like...
You're just very critical.
I don't like it.
But you should be happy.
But this one is one I worked on a long time ago.
I'm so excited. Guys, who is excited for us to have Amanda release art in the form of stickers and shirts and just cool ass shit? Because I am.
This is the one I'm working on now.
I love it.
I'm adding a lot of little things in so it like stands out more.
I love the Kill Your Local Pedophile poster in the back.
Thank you.
Oh my god. I love it so much. I can't wait.
And then I have a little Easter egg. A variation of the Lover's card and a variation of the Tower.
God! Yes!
And I'm just gonna add. I have this pink right now because I'm gonna make it like spray painted on.
Yeah, like drippy and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. You guys, fund all of our dreams and buy really cool shit. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Alright, so this week, my turn. And I am doing the story of Jaryd Atadero. He was a 3-year-old boy.
No.
Don't, it's okay. It's not like it's really sad and really, really fucked up, but it's not like it's not gruesome. You're not gonna have to sit through anything gross. This is a small story on a broader topic that I'm sure we'll discuss later on in the episode, but we'll get it started. My sources for this were strangeoutdoors.com, Missing 411, which is a show on Hulu, and I think it might be on Netflix too, but I watched it on Hulu, and the denverpost.com. So, on October 2nd, 1999, 3-year-old Jaryd Atadero, his 6-year-old sister Jocelyn, and 11 other adults were hiking the Big South Trail near Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. Most of these adults were actually employees and good friends of Jaryd's father, Alan, and they asked if they could take the two kids on a hike. They told his father that they wouldn't be far at all, just around the corner at a trout fishery, but they ended up hiking a trail that was 15 miles from the store Alan ran and lived in with his 2 children. In Missing 411, they retell the point of view of one of the adults that were hiking with Jaryd, saying he had a lot of energy because he was 3, and he would get far ahead on occasion, but they always assumed that they would catch back up with him because they were following right behind him. Oh no. Oh, it's plenty charged. Okay. I lost my spot. Oh, in Missing 411, they retell the point of one of the adults hiking with Jaryd, saying he had a lot of energy. They felt like they would just always catch up with him, but at one point they didn't. And it was like 20 minutes, they still hadn't caught up with him, and they realized then that they couldn't find him.
Wait, they're letting their 3-year-old run like...
I was watching this fucking episode, and the whole time I was looking at Quinn, I was like, what the fuck do you mean you were... And this trail, because you see it in the episode, it was up... It's in the mountains. It was skinny. You had to do single file. Like, it was a fucking ledge drop on the one side, and they're letting a 3-year-old just, like, wee, run through the fucking... Listen. Anyway, I could talk about that for a whole fucking episode. So they realize they can't find him. They rush... Don't look for him in the woods. They rush back to the store to tell his father, 15 fucking miles away, that he's missing and they can't find him. He's like, okay, well, just take me there. They get in the car, and he's like, okay, you were at the trout fishery? They're like, no, we're actually like 15 miles up the road. And he's furious because he trusted these adults with his children, and he thought they were in one place, and they were not. So he's like, oh my God, how'd you guys get this far up the road? He's driving, and he said in his interview when he got interviewed on the documentary, he was like, that was the angriest I've ever been. That was the longest, angriest car ride I've ever been on, and I don't know how I survived it. When he got there, he started calling out for Jaryd for a really long time, and he hiked for a while. He always called him Little Man, and he kept shouting, Little Man, you know, it's Daddy, I'm here, where are you? Are you stuck? Are you hurt? It was about 15, 20 minutes in, and he realized that the trail was so much more than he had expected. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to find him on my own. Like, if he's stuck somewhere or he fell somewhere, I'm not going to be able to find him.
You need the search party at that point.
Right, so they call the police, and a search warrant, or not a search, but a search and rescue begun. So kind of like overlapping this to kind of get the perspective of Jaryd from what they assume is the last point that he was seen alive. While hiking, he had run ahead probably about 100 feet, and he stopped to talk to some fishermen. That's the last point that he was seen. And so that's what they're basing when they find...
Wait, how do they know he stopped to talk to the 3-year-old?
Yeah, the 3-year-old stopped to talk to fishermen, and the fishermen recounted that when the search started going on for
And
him.
they weren't like, what's this 3-year-old doing by himself?
That's what I'm fucking saying. Okay, I see a little kid, and I'm like, where is your family? Who
I went to the mall one time, and there was a little boy, he was like maybe 3 or 4, wandering around the mall crying, and everyone was just passing him, and I stopped, and I was like... I don't
get it.
I stopped, and I was like, where's your dad? And I was like, it's okay, we'll find him. And I was walking around, and I'm like, okay, time to find a security guard.
Right.
And then I saw the security with his dad, and they were like, oh, that's him. And I'm like, I can't believe none of these other people stopped.
That's unbelievable. I just don't... I get, like, you don't want to get... I don't know, maybe you don't want to get in trouble, or you don't know what the situation is, but, like, it's a kid.
Like, you're just assuming that, oh, it's
Even
fine.
if the kid is being used for nefarious purposes to lure other people away, you should still be trying to protect the child. Like, you should be trying to get the kid.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Anyway, so following him talking to those fishermen, Jaryd, they believe, continued down the trail ahead of the group, and then eventually that was when they realized he had gone missing. That point where he talked to the fishermen was the last time anybody saw Jaryd, as far as they know. In the following days, a massive search and rescue operation failed to turn up any evidence of Jaryd. They searched for 8 days, 24 hours a day, and found nothing. Absolutely nothing. As if he had just vanished. Fast forward in May of 2003. Hikers Rob Osborne and Gareth Watts were in the Poudre Canyon near the Big South Trail. So right there, basically, where he was, just on a harder hiking area. And they came across a shoe, a child's shoe. And one of the hikers described it as looking as if it had just been dropped there, not sitting in the woods for 4 years. The hikers had previously been discussing, while on the hike, the disappearance of Jaryd Atadero and how disturbing and mysterious it was that nothing of him had ever been found. Of course, the discovery of that shoe led to the discovery of what did remain of 3-year-old Jaryd. The hikers called in the authorities, and what was found remains a bit baffling to this day. People don't really understand why it was found this way. They found Jaryd's sweater and sweatpants that he had been wearing the day that he went missing, and both of his sneakers, as well as a small piece of his skull cap and one tooth. The clothes did not have any blood on them, and while they were torn up a bit, it appeared to experts to be the cause of animals such as birds picking them apart over the years that they had been in the woods. Like, it almost looked like they had been eaten away, not ripped up from an attack.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to note, while we're kind of picturing this area where the kid was, this particular portion of the hike that the hikers found his clothes and everything on was uphill, very strenuous, even for those two older, very experienced hikers. They still found those remains there, and it was 550 feet upwards from where he was last seen. Searchers found the skull fragment in a crevice and a tooth on a log spanning that crevice, which was above the skull fragment. So, like, imagine, like, just a little dip in the ground. The skull was in that dip, and there was a log across the dip, and the tooth was on the log. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very descriptive.
Yes, I know. But because I feel like it matters a little bit to, like, how questioned this was. The weird, like, way that was all laying
I'm,
found.
like, hardcore imagining the scene.
It's so strange. Like, it's not, like, a graphic scene. It was, like, very...
I'm speculating these fishermen.
Oh. Fishermen, and listen, we'll get into it. We'll talk. We'll talk some turkey. The positioning of the skull fragment is such that it is visible from only a narrow angle and is lit by a small shaft of light from the sun. The site is about 108 feet north and about 20 feet higher in elevation than where the clothes were found. The head of the search and rescue from the search that took place right after he disappeared said that they had used dogs and that they would have been alerted to something if anything had been up there, and so they would have gone up and searched it. So either they didn't really search it. If they had been alerted, they were like, oh, I don't want to hike that, and so they didn't really search it, or his body wasn't up there at the time of the search and they were never alerted to it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what law enforcement thinks happened here and what his father was told as soon as the remains were found. Basically, they think there was animal contact, specifically a mountain lion attack. I get that. I could see that.
That's what I would think.
Right. That makes sense. That is the most logical explanation because there are mountain lions in the area, but something that his father did, because it just didn't sit right with him and didn't make a whole lot of sense to him, was he sought out mountain lion experts. And they looked at the remains, they looked at all the crime scene pictures, the situation surrounding it, they looked at the clothes. They said, he wasn't attacked by a mountain lion.
It was like he was undressed.
Exactly. That's exactly what they said. They told him his clothes were not, if he was attacked by a mountain lion, his clothes were not on, they were removed. Who took his clothes off? Not the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And plus his shoes. His tennis shoes looked the way they did the day he had them on when he went missing. They were not scuffed as they would have been if he had been dragged up a mountain by a mountain lion.
Or was wandering through the woods for an X amount of days.
Exactly. They were in perfect condition. Now, his father specifically said he hated tying his shoes, so I didn't make him tie them that day, but they still would have looked beat up if he had been drug anywhere. The clothes, too, like his sweater that he was wearing, the one sleeve was really kind of like torn as if it had gotten caught on something or ripped or whatever. So that, like, I could see maybe that's where the lion grabbed him. But again, his pants, for the most part, looked completely untouched.
Or if there's no blood on them.
There wasn't any blood. There was no blood, no flesh, evidence of any kind. And sure, it's been 4 years, but there's going to be staining. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going to be able to say, well, here's where they bit down. Here's where they clawed and scratched at him.
Right.
And the fact that there is only a small piece of skull cap and a tooth left, I feel like there would have been more if it was just an animal got him.
Yeah.
They're not going to eat everything of him, you know, and he was only in the woods for 4 years.
Yeah, it's 4 years later.
But that's the theory that law enforcement still to this day is saying that's what happened to Jaryd Atadero. That is his official cause of death.
Where was this at?
Colorado, the Rocky Mountain area.
But what's the trail name?
Trail, the Big South Trail in Rocky Mountain National Park.
And then there's a fishery,
a trout fishery somewhere around there, but I don't know the name of the trout fishery. But the trout fishery was like 15 miles away from that. It was closer to the home.
Don't worry, I'm just doing some sleuthing.
She's looking at pictures. I recommend, if you guys are interested in this story, to, even if you're not really super interested, watch that Missing 411 because, we'll get to it later, but it's wild. I learned some things that shouldn't be surprising to me, but it just blew my mind. Blew me back a bit, learning about it. That's where his clothing was. That's where they last saw him. You expect me to believe a 3-year-old fucking hiked that?
Yeah.
And if he was drug up
that's
that
like
way,
almost like a 500 altitude difference.
Exactly. And even if he was drugged, you mean to tell me that the clothes wouldn't look bloody? Yeah, he was found really far from the last place he was seen. And the last place he was seen was right along the trail that he had been hiking on. So it made sense for him to have been seen there. So yeah, his dad just wasn't really taking that. And I feel so bad for him. It was hard to watch him talk. But, like I said, he talked to the mountain lion experts. All of them confirmed his suspicions in saying that the way his remains were found does not indicate a mountain lion attack or even any encounter with an animal at all. Negatively, at least. Or, if animals got to his body, it was post-mortem. It was not the cause of his death. They said the clothes would have had to have been off his body in the condition they were in prior to an attack by a mountain lion. Mm-hmm. But the police have just stuck with mountain lion attack. His dad, I think, is still kind of trying to, even all these years later, find a way to prove that it wasn't that. But there is no evidence as to anything else. Mm-hmm. Zero. He just vanished off the face of the earth, and then 4 years later they found what was left of him. So that leads me to my bigger discussion. In the 411, because we watched a couple episodes of it, in the Missing 411, it kind of focused on the fact that these people go missing in national parks. And a lot of people, like my dad, who are conspiracy theorists, will say, it was Bigfoot, it was aliens, it was this, it was that.
I low-key thought aliens.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't, because I think it's not just one thing that's causing these people to go missing. I think it's everything. But I think it's things that are other. Like, they're not so easily explained by mountain lions. It also could have been some,
like, random pedophile that was hiking through the woods.
It's not always supernatural, but
4 years later wanted to leave a memoriam and put his clothes there. Like, it could be...
Or that was his trophy where he was keeping it, whatever.
It could have been anything.
Yeah. They interviewed a lady, I can't remember her name. They interviewed a couple people, and they also interviewed the guy that was the head of the national park system when Obama was in office, and they asked him outright, because they were talking about how many people go missing in national parks, because it's a fuck ton. Mm-hmm. And they're never found. There's no trace of them. I mean, some of them are found. They find their bodies, like they found Jaryd's. But some of them, there's nothing. Someone looks away for 2 seconds and they're gone forever. They're just gone. And so they asked him outright, they said, is there a record of the people that go missing? How many people have actually gone missing? And he gets this look on his face, like, fuck, I don't have an answer to that. He's like, well, I can tell you there wasn't a list when I was in office. So all these people are going missing, and there is no detail.
It's like, if there's... In the woods, it's not like anybody lives out there, supposedly.
Listen.
It's not like anybody lives out there, and if they go missing, it's like, do we really want to spend the manpower to look for them, and these impossible-to-hike trails, finding the people, the body power to, like, comb through these? It's almost not worth it. Like, it could have been a bear, could have been a moose, it could have been a mountain lion.
This is true, and I agree with that, but I think the thing that baffled me is there was no documenting of it, because I think that there should be, because maybe you would see a pattern in some of them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because it's got to be some of the same thing getting some of these people. Mm-hmm. And there's just, like, almost no accountability, I guess, to it. Like, oh, they're just gone now. Like,
national parks are huge, and I really wouldn't be surprised if I stumbled upon someone's little hideout there.
Exactly. Hideout, little... So there's a serial killer that used to call them his hidey holes, where he would keep his trophies from his victims. All kinds of stuff. I always kind of get a little freaked out when I see, like, clothes in the woods. Or, like, things that kind of look like somebody. There's a little patch of, like, it's not deep woods by my house, but, I mean, it's a wooded area. And I used to run past it, and I don't anymore because it freaks me out. But there's, like, suitcases down in there that are just, like, open. And there's a bunch of trash and, like, pillows and stuff. And it just kind of scares me because I don't know why it's there.
There, like down here on Lookout.
Yeah.
People know where I live now.
Triangulate your location for us.
There's, like, the Blue Bridge is right there, and, like, there's, like, a little, like, sort of area of wooding there, and it, like, eventually goes into this little plain, and then it drops off down into the valley. And I remember walking through there when I was really little, and my mom was like, don't go walk through those woods, but I didn't know better, so I was like, yeah, I'm walking through the woods. Yeah, and I, like, went in there, and I don't know how far I went, but I'd have to walk it again, but I haven't gone back. And there was, like, a mattress, and it was definitely, like, some homeless person's little camp, but it was, like, a mattress, there was, like, cans of food, like, it had been lived in, and nobody was there, but I was like, shit, I'm, like, a 10-year-old girl.
Right. You don't know what kind of a person's living there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I went back, no, I think I kept going, actually, because I made it to, like, the plane right before,
I
like...
fucking looked at the screen like we have an audience. Like, did you hear this fucking shit?
She looks at the computer like it's the office, yeah. But I haven't gone back because, like...
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Like I said before, the forest is fucking scary. I like going in the woods. I like hiking. I like being in the woods. I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. But it's scary as shit because there's other people out there. There's other things out there.
My favorite Ask Reddits are when people are like, what's the scariest thing you've seen while backpacking or camping or out in the woods?
Yeah.
And there's some fucked up shit out there. Like, people, like, don't need society sometimes and will just go out there and live.
There's some, my high school did a feeding the homeless program, Project Hope, and they said that they encountered some people that chose to, like, they didn't choose homelessness when it happened to them, when it fell upon them, but then even if they had the opportunity to get out of it, they chose not to because they would live in it so long that it became normal to them and they didn't want to go back into living in civilization. They didn't want to have to subscribe to it anymore.
Subscribe is the perfect word.
Yeah.
You pay to live in society.
Yep.
You do. And I can understand that.
Yep. I get choosing homelessness.
There was, I don't remember who I heard it from, where it came from, how I heard it, but it was someone knew this guy. I think he does Twitch now. Like, he's living a very, like, good life now. If you know who I'm talking about, just tell me. But it's this guy, and he's talking about how his life was when he was homeless, and when he was a teenager, his parents were very mean to him, and they kicked him out when he was, like, 16 or 18.
Oh, we love good parents.
And he was homeless, and he said, like, the thing he hated the most was going to homeless shelters, because it was these weird people constantly trying to, like, touch you, take your stuff, you know. You couldn't sleep. You couldn't sleep there. So he just started, like, train hopping, and eventually met his wife, and they, like, built a life together.
Good for him.
Right, but it was, like, crazy.
Because it's scary. It's because not everybody that is homeless is, you know, somebody that's just down on their luck and unfortunate. Some people are mentally ill, and that's why they're homeless.
Yeah.
Or they became mentally ill because they became homeless.
Do you ever think about what you would do if you became homeless?
I thought about it a lot. Like I told you earlier, homelessness runs in my family.
Yeah.
Sounds like insensitive, but there's some truth backing it. It's like one of those things, you know how everybody has something that they're, like, really passionate about, like causes, and some people are, like, big on cancer awareness and stuff like that. I think homelessness is one of those things for me. I used to when I was younger, like, and I will probably hopefully be able to be fortunate enough to do it someday, but, like, I used to want to get, like, a Christmas tree that was pre-lit and everything that I could just, like, take into tent communities or, like, people that were living outside at Christmas time and just set it up and then put a bunch of care packages under it for them to open up and then run away. And just do that, like, all over a major metropolis.
Like the Grinch, but...
Yeah, but reverse.
Yeah.
Like, do that all over a major metropolis.
Yeah.
Or, like, have a place where I could do big enough dinners and stuff like that. Or just, like, take stuff to people. If I were homeless, one, I think I can positively say that I don't think I ever would be. I think I am fortunate enough that, like, I would always have somewhere to go. Someone to be with. But if for some reason I had nothing and no one... I want to say my willpower would be strong enough to stay who I am, but I don't know.
If it weren't for my grandparents, I'd be homeless.
No, you wouldn't.
I would
always have my couch.
Well, I know. I do have my friends that would let me live on their couch, but at the same time, like, if I somehow were to be fired from my job and somehow were to not have anywhere to live and didn't feel like couch surfing, I would live in my car.
Yeah.
I would work to pay my bills that I have to pay, and I would keep my Black membership subscription to
Planet Fitness.
So you
could shower.
So I could shower, I could work out, I could...
Get water.
Right. And I would just leave in my car.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, because you could drop all your other bills just pay for your car payment if you have one and your insurance.
Get a P.O. box so I can get a better job and then build me up from there. Yeah. I've had it all planned out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would try to avoid homeless shelters too, unless I felt like that was like if I was in danger.
Mm-hmm. I would more likely go to a women's shelter than a homeless shelter.
I agree with you. Because places like the battered women's shelter take in more than just women who are abused. They take in people like women just coming out of jail and all kinds of stuff. But even that can maybe be a little bit dangerous too. Because women aren't perfect. But yeah, I think I would be less worried about what my next move would be and more about like how I would change through that. Like would I still be... Because I pride myself on still being a pretty positive person despite the things that I've gone through, and I would just really hope that I'd be able to retain that, but I don't think that I would be, because I know that homelessness is such a dark thing for everybody. Even if they choose it, it turns you into a darker person, whether you want it to or not.
I think about this time where all those people that stand on the corner, and I give everybody benefit of the doubt, and I'm sure some of them are like very homeless, and I always treat them like they all are.
Yeah. If they wave, I wave back because I know that's what they want.
Yeah. And if I have water, I give it to them. Hell, if I have cigarettes, I'll give it to them. Yeah. Whatever. But there was one time it was in college, and I like had to choose between buying books or eating. So like I really did not have any money. And I was in an intersection, and this guy was like going up to everybody's windows asking for money, and I was like, I don't have any. And he started screaming at me. He's like, fuck you, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. And like I was kind of mad at him, like, dude, what the fuck? But at the same time I'm like, you know what,
if I had no money every single day for however long he had done it, and
every single person refuses to make eye contact with me, etc.,
treats me like I'm a monster,
I would do the same thing. You get to that point where you really just want to grab somebody and scream at them.
Yep. No, I agree. And so, like, that's kind of something that scares me about the national parks. Like I said, it's not always supernatural. Don't get me wrong. Bigfoot's fucking real. So is Mothman and aliens and all of that shit. So some of these people are going missing for those reasons. But
that's Ashley's words, not mine.
We'll talk about cryptids at some point. I don't actually literally believe in everything. But
we should do cryptids in Halloween.
Dude, I know.
In October.
Cryptids are so fun. And I think there's truth behind them. The stories wouldn't be stories if there wasn't something that happened to make the story a thing. So
that's true.
Something happened and it was scary enough to make the story. I think a lot of the reasons that these people go missing is easily explainable, like with a natural thing such as an animal attack or a person attacking another person. But what's scary about homelessness is what's scary about the woods. Like, you don't know what's out there. Like, those suitcases that scare the shit out of me for no... Like, it's just an empty suitcase. It's probably been there forever. Somebody just threw it there, but it scares
somebody
me.
Put it there.
Exactly.
You don't know why.
I don't know what was in that suitcase. I don't know why it's down there.
Yeah.
It's just scary. So I feel bad for this little 3-year-old boy. I don't know who got him or what got him. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a mountain lion, though.
I was waiting for the rest of it.
That's it.
I was waiting for you to be like, and so this is our first theory. But there's not one.
There's not one.
Oh my god.
Because that's how these stories go with these people that go missing. Like, there's nothing for them to make a theory on.
I would go insane. I would almost rather them be like, yeah, we found his bloodied, chewed up body.
He got attacked by a mountain lion.
Yeah, I would.
And that's what his dad said. He's like, I wish it was a mountain lion, because then I wouldn't still be thinking about it.
But it wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then there's so many of these stories where they don't find the skull cap and the tooth and the clothes. They don't find anything. They don't even see how they went missing. There was one little boy. He was real worked up. He was 7, I think. And I forget, it was at some lake in Oregon or I don't know. Anyway, he was real worked up and his dad pulled over. And he got out of the car, went up over this hill. And his dad was literally walking after him. He crested the hill, and they never saw him again. Literally, seconds. His dad following him over the hill. He was gone, and they never found him. It's a wooded area, a national park, but they literally found nothing of him ever. So many stories. And that, like, it scares the hell out of me. Like, I like when there's evidence, like, we can talk, like, Bella and the Witch Elm. Like, it could have been X, Y, and Z. You know, like, there's evidence to back why it could be these things, but there's nothing for these stories. They're just gone.
I feel like there's a lot to be, like, this is going to go into a whole other conversation, but, like, I try to think of things like, also I'm gonna try and see multiple perspectives to try to get an idea of what the outcome could or would have been. Mm-hmm. But I also try to think of one of those outcomes as being, what if it was something that my brain physically could not comprehend?
Yeah.
And it's almost like being okay with not knowing. There was one time, which I think is a perfect example of this, when people say that they see cryptids, which I think a great thing would be if we, during October, you came up with, like, a cryptid and where it came from, and I think of a counterpoint.
Ooh.
But,
Ooh. It's like speech class. Cryptids.
My ex and I were driving down my road one night, and we were coming home from just, like, being out, and we pull up onto my road, and the headlights, we don't really have, like, bright, like, street lights. I don't think we even have any, to be honest. And we turn onto my dead-end road, and we both see it.
Is it this one here?
Yeah. We both see it. And verbatim, this is what it looked like. It looked like a naked Asian child standing in the road. And I tensed up, and I went, what the fuck is that?
And he saw it too?
And he saw it too, but he didn't, he was waiting for me to react before he would react.
Because he didn't want to seem crazy.
And he was like, I don't know. And we freaked out, and then it turned, and it was a deer, but it was facing us head on.
Holy
So we didn't see its other two legs. And
so it just looked like an armless, naked...
Yes.
Oh
my god, it was so terrifying.
I feel like I might vomit.
And I was like, oh my god, I thought I was going to too. I was like, it's a deer. It's just a deer.
I was like, Amanda, I have to walk to my car on this very fucking street you're talking about.
Like, it's just a deer. But, like, I'm sure, like, sometimes people see things or expect, like, things, whatever. But expect that expected. Like, the kid walking over the crest of the hill, yeah, he seems like he burst into a puff of thin air, but what if it was just some hungry-ass mountain lion that, like, sprinted and fucking snatched him up and ran away?
Or he fell and got into the wrong spot and his dad didn't get him in time and something else got him, like a mountain lion.
Or he fell into a hole.
Yeah,
or,
a hole that was covered up by, like, brambles and stuff, and they never found the hole.
Yeah, there's, like, so many infinite possibilities, and then there's also evidence that you may see, but also may just somehow seem like something else at that time.
Like the way his
clothes, like maybe there was some kind of phenomena or some...
Just the way it fell and moved over the next 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just no way of knowing.
Nope. And that's what, like, drives people crazy. It's because it meant, like, especially this father, he's like, it wasn't a mountain lion. There's no way because the evidence doesn't point to mountain lions. But, like, what if it was a mountain lion and it's just a freak coincidence where it doesn't seem like it was? And if it wasn't a mountain lion, then what was it?
Right.
Anyway, I thought that would have led to a good conversation, and I feel like it did.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Anyway, stay tuned for October, because it's going to get fucking wild.
I know. I'm so excited for October.
I kind of want to we should do pre-October, September, October, and then post-October, November. We should go to, like, a haunted house. Not like a haunted house, but, like, a place where we go to a ghost tour, and, like...
I totally thought about doing vlogs.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be awesome.
I'm 100% okay with that.
You know what a spirit box is?
Do I know what a spirit box is?
I want to use one so bad.
I do. I had this app for a while. It's called Ghost Radar, and it's supposed to be, like, it operates like a spirit box, kind of. But it registers, like, heat waves and, like, sounds that we can't pick up, and it'll form a word that the sound is making.
My cousin, she's young, and she showed me apps like that, but, like, it's
I don't trust it.
I don't either. It's like, it's like a timed animation that pops up or something.
I did use it in my office when I was still working at the office, and that's, like, dead silent. There nobody talks in my office. There's no sounds or anything. And it did say the word finance. And that scared me a little bit. But it could have just been chance, because it never happened again.
I would trust an app more so if it didn't ever work and nothing was ever heard, and then every once in a while something was said, versus every time I open it something is said.
Did you see that TikTok thing where they were using the filter to, like, find ghost energies?
I want to show you some.
There was one in my bathroom. That was the only spot, though.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that off air.
Yeah, because otherwise this will be like another hour. Oh well. Anyway, I hope you guys like that. Like I said, I mean, it wasn't super graphic, thank goodness, but it is sad. Jaryd was a cute little boy, and his dad loved him very much, and now he's gone. And I don't have, like, real closure with it.
Yeah.
Plugs.
Oh, shit. It's my turn. Okay.
So we don't have to be sad about this anymore.
Instagram is Crime in the Coconut. Twitter is CITC Podcast.
It's plural.
Damn it. I keep
You always mess it up. Because it should be just...
Podcasts is plural. Our Gmail is crimeinthecoconut@gmail. Usually everything's Crime in the Coconut. So, message us, send us stuff. What do you want to hear? What do you not want to hear?
Do you like the banter? Because you're going to get it whether you like it or not. But
I feel like it's not even banter.
It's just us being stupid for like 10 minutes at the beginning. It's just
hyping each other's like ghost stories.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for coming back. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.